All right, everybody, this is Swiss. Welcome back to another video. This is a continuation of a new playlist on my channel where we discuss stuff that I do not necessarily like about the Decentraland experience right now. And this could include anything. And we have already a couple of topics covered. And today's topic is going to be rather complex. We're going to talk about the DAO. And I will not claim to understand specifically and exactly what the advantages of the DAO are. What it's supposed to be ideally, but I have a fair understanding of what a decentralized organization is supposed to be able to achieve, and if there is a technological solution available to kind of bring together all sorts of opinions and use technology and democratic principles to find some sort of consensus of where to go next. If there is a tool like this, I think it's awesome, and I believe the Decentraland DAO is a tool like that. And this platform is relatively new. We haven't been able to experiment a whole lot with it. And I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I do not like about it right now. Now, this is a very complex topic, so I may be able to go, just on a tangent somewhere, and I'm likely to have a hard time coming back, but let's give it a shot. There are actually two DAO proposals that I would like to discuss. So basically, if you click on DAO here and then click on Start Voting, you will have access to this as a Decentraland member. And you will see all sorts of proposals here. These are proposals by community members. Some of those are really interesting. Don't trust the headline. A lot of the times, the actual content is much better. I definitely encourage you to check this stuff out. This will really allow you to dig deep into the Decentraland ecosystem and really understand what's driving this stuff. And actually, it will allow you to participate on Twitter. It will allow you to really understand, where the levers are. One proposal that I find particularly interesting is this one here. I've had a lot of discussions on this yesterday and today, and also this one here. Now, let's just start with this one and see where it's going to take us. As you guys see, I'm trying to get through this relatively quickly. It's kind of tough to, keep some momentum with these very complex ideas here. Now, this particular DAO proposal is interesting because we're actually looking at a fundamental change to the way that the DAO funds are organized. Someone who proposed this idea, and I think even though you cannot see the identity of this person or of this account, I believe this is a DAO committee member who submitted this. And by the way, I would definitely suggest to register some kind of name or create some kind of Decentraland identity for this account, so it doesn't look so, so weird and anon. But I believe this is a legit account that proposes this. And if you read the whole story here, it's properly put together. What they want to do is to take a portion of the DAO funds and convert them from mana into a stable coin or fiat. Now, I don't want to even get into this conversation whether this is a good signal for the community or not. If you want to take your own currency and dump it into the marketplace in exchange for fiat, whether this is good or bad. I mean, I think a lot of people have different opinions on that. One thing you have to know is that, where is that mana going to be sold? It's going to be sold on the marketplace. That means if you are a big mana holder, you are likely to feel this effect. I think they will probably sell this over time, reasonably slowly. So you will not, the market may be able to absorb these 4 million mana without major fluctuations. If you would sell this on, on a decentralized exchange in a market order, you will dump the price of mana by 50%, right? But I assume that this wouldn't be something that the foundation would do. So I don't think we need to discuss that. What's really interesting to me here is that there's this big chunk of votes that are voting for this proposal. And if you actually look at the votes who are voting, there are these 2 or 3 or 4 accounts that are really making a difference, specifically the very first account. And I've had some issues figuring out who that person was, but some people told me that this is very likely to be the Decentraland founder who is voting here. And I found this rather interesting because I was a bit worried about this account before knowing that this could maybe be that one person. But once I found out that this could be the case, it kind of got me thinking, isn't there some sort of conflict of interest here if the foundation submits a proposal and then a founding member with so much voting power just goes in there immediately and votes yes, pretty much eliminating any kind of democratic vote on this? Does this make sense? Is this the right thing to do? I mean, maybe, Decentraland has a CFO. They do have certain commitments. They do have bills to pay in the real world. I understand that they may want to, lock in some of the quote unquote profits in mana to have a more stable plan for the funds looking forward. I mean, I'm not stupid. I understand that this might be the right thing to do, but that's not even at question here. What's at question here is that isn't this something that the community is supposed to have a say in just to maintain the narrative of a decentralized world rather than coming in and just smashing one button with 6 million votes? Anyways, I think this is something that I'm having, incomplete information on possibly, but I do see attempts to manipulate DAO again and again and again from various angles. And I feel it's important that people understand how this stuff works or how it could work or what an issue could be. So definitely I do not like the fact that there's this one account voting for pretty much its own proposal, undermining the whole decentralization idea, literally. Now, if we, I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but if you would like to do so, there is this link to a previous DAO proposal, by the way, that kind of, where they did the same thing. They converted apparently 6 million mana into fiat. Back then, the mana price was at a completely different value. So now, of course, it feels like they need to kind of average it out. I haven't checked the actual mana price in July, but it will be interesting to see. I guess they're kind of repeating this operation because it was a bit of a surprise to have such a strong mana valuation all of a sudden. I don't think anyone expected that, even internally. But here, if you go into the votes, you also have this one account that is voting, for 4 with such a big number of votes. And if you go and if you investigate this account a little bit, right now, this account has no funds. $500 there is on this account. So it's been emptied out. And if you like, you can go and follow these transactions and see where they take you. And it's an interesting investigation, but I'm not going to get into it. But it feels like it was the same situation and it was dealt with in the same way. So I would say you have to be very careful and we have to remind ourselves of what decentralization means and what signals we are sending, what practices are conflict of interest, what practices are okay. And I also think, just communication is something that we have been lacking. Like there's no spokesperson, there is no one who steps forward and explains an important DAO like this. It feels like it's just there. 2-3 people vote on it in the way they feel, is right. And then the rest is destiny. But there are 2 million voting points against it. And anyways, this is one of the questionable DAOs that I'm aware of right now. But there is a second one. There is a second one. And this one was, really just, almost going viral yesterday and today on Twitter. And this proposal is once again about names. And we've had this before. We had this, voting power allocation scandal, I would say, where we, the wearables owner, were literally screwed over. And the name guys are now having voting power. And now once again we have the name guys. You know, by the way, most of the biggest name owners are all OG from 2019, and you will never encounter them in Decentraland, right? They just own 5, 6, 7, 900 names, and now they've got extra voting power. And now someone, by the way, we checked the account. The account is also from mid 2019. Surprise, that is proposing something like this here. Hey, if we want to already lower the cost of name registration from 100 mana to 25 mana, why don't we also, you know, give 75 mana per name back to the original investors, as now their names that they registered are now cheaper, so we need to recompensate those guys, refund them 75 mana because they have paid 100 and now it's going to be worth only 25. I mean, what a strange idea. Like, you invest 100 mana, like we invested into wearables, you know, hundreds and thousands of mana, and now because the mana price went up and you want to lower the price, you're going to get money back out of the DAO. I mean, it's an interesting idea, but its implications are, you know, there are just too many variables. If you want to be fair post such a decision, you would have to make a lot of concessions to wearables owners as well, maybe to land owners as well. And maybe you could just take all of the DAO and just distribute it across all the active members as an airdrop, and then everybody is going to just sell it in the same moment, and mana is going to go to zero or something. I mean, there's a lot of creative ideas how you can do stuff like that. So just submitting a proposal like this and then coming in with a bunch of OGs and vote yes, because all of these guys have hundreds of names, not all of them, but many of them. And then there are some poor dudes who have no names, but they just got, you know, somehow involved into this, believing that because, you know, they want to get $800-900 back for those 3-4 names that they have. They are ready, of course, to vote yes here. You know, it's money, I understand, but they don't, you know, they only see their tiny little wallet. They don't see anything else around that happening. And I understand that. Under certain circumstances, I would say, you know, screw the bigger picture. There is a lot of money in the DAO fund. The marketing manager is sending out tweets that we now have $1 billion available to us in the fund. Why not go and you know, get a little bit of a refund from that, instead of it sitting there idle, not doing anything at all, right? So I understand the whole reasoning behind this, but I do not like it. I do not like it, and a lot of people went on to promote this, you know, mana messed with people's minds. But I would like to remind people that we are not only here for $200. We are also here for, I mean, that's what you guys have been saying, right? For a new way of life, decentralization, independence, building a new world. What happened to all of this? Because the names that I see talking about this and voting there, they are all voting yes. Like, so all I can say is that, sorry, dude, you're about the $200. You're not about decentralization. Shut the fuck up, right? That's the only thing that comes to my mind at that point. In any case, some people argued that you will, you know, eradicate some intrinsic value and this will have an impact on the valuation going forward, and this is not fair, and a lot of crap like this. I think there are some valid points here and there, but in the end of the day, this whole proposal is sitting on the back of an important issue, and that important issue is that we want to have new people joining Decentraland, having the ability to purchase a name at a reasonable price. At 100 mana, such a name would cost $350 to $500 depending on the day. Plus, if that stuff is all on aisle 1, they would pay a fortune for fees to register, and it will make it unaffordable. So even if you decrease the price to 25 mana, the fees will just still screw everyone over. So people haven't really thought this through. They come up with a proposal here, and then people jump on board of this motivated by $200-300, and this thing suddenly looks like it's supposed to pass. And now we have to go back and painstakingly explain to people that what they have been told is a lie. And this is really hard. I mean, 118 votes. How is this even possible? Like, who voted yes here and why, right? All these people, if you look how much mana they have in their account, I mean, some of them, I don't even know how they get to vote here with 0 voting power. But they have no mana. Of course, for them, if they could get $200-300, it would be amazing. Just because they have a name. And what's funny is that many of these guys don't even have a name. Why are they voting? I mean, you're not going to get anything. You don't have a name. What are you doing? So this is the DAO in Decentraland today. It's mostly nonsense. But you do have to do your own research when you have a DAO that is as popular as this one and discussed as often as this one. You have to go and see who that person is. You have to plug in that address into OpenSea, into Etherscan, and just have a look. When were they active last time? When did they start? Like, to have an idea about the identity of the person. And then you have to see who is actually voting. Who are these people? You see the same people again and again, but I've published some of these names here and their name counts on Twitter. These guys have tons of names. They are going to make several $1 million based off a proposal like this. I don't think it'll actually be feasible to make this work because it defeats the initial purpose of making names accessible to new players. And on L1, on the main Ethereum layer, if you want to register a name for 25 mana, you're still going to pay $100-200 of registration. Ethereum fees, I haven't checked how much the Ethereum transaction costs, but it's not going to be cheap. So even if you reduce it to 1 mana, you would still have to pay transaction costs. Most new guys will probably not pay that. So it defeats the purpose. I think we have kind of abused this for some people to get some extra money. In any case, this is all speculation. This is my interpretation of the situation. And I'm really just, discussing the DAO here. There are a lot of attempts to play the DAO, to use it, to maybe even, God knows, I mean, maybe right now people are sponsoring each other, people are cutting deals, people are, using influencers to spread the word. You don't know what's going behind the scenes. That's the internet, guys. And you have to decide where you are at. Are you the $200 guy? Or are you the real deal? And it's hard. It's hard. I get it. I get it, man. Anyways, I hope this was insightful. It was a bit of a long one. And I see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.